not just in the room, we're leading the charge. Boardroom Queens setting the bar large.
Hi Kavita, how are you?
I'm good, good. How are you?
I'm great. Welcome to Boardroom Queens.
Thank you, thank you. I'm excited to be here to have this wonderful discussion.
It's lovely to have you here too, especially a woman so talented like you.
Thank you.
So let's just start with a very normal question. Do you want to tell us something about your journey?
Let's just say that education wise, yes, I am an MBA, I'm a CMA, studied, came from a good family, a lot of love in the family, but there's always, issues, growing up, and then got married pretty early and a very traditional family into that. And then I've been striving towards working towards my passion for several years. So part of that is what brought me to what I naturally am as a person, as an empath, as a healer. So I got the formal training in it because we might have those qualities, but no matter what profession you go in, you need that.
True.
Otherwise, you just like another, you can just put whatever you want to on the social media, right? They need the training. So I'm a certified hypnotherapist, a life coach by Mary Morrissey, subconscious release technique, and with my guru and a teacher, Kundalini sadhana, yogini, like huge sadhana. That's what I do. And from there, another course, like which was in me always, but life naturally took me towards acting. So, acting career, and my web series just got released. The second web series is going to get released in July. I've done short films, lots of theater, a few Punjabi films here and there. That's the sort of the sum of my journey.
No, your journey sounds really very interesting and congratulations. Actually, I got to know about your new web series and like you have been doing a great job at it. So I can
Thank you.
tell like acting is really suiting you. It's like your thing.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of people when whoever saw even from the industry, like they saw that they said, "हाँ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੈਡਮ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵਧੀਆ acting ਹੈ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛੀ like the way they were telling those guys and it was good sweet of them to tell me too, right? Egos knee or something like that. So I got very good response. Yeah.
Really great, but there's also one more thing that I think arises a little concern in our community that whenever we want to say to our family and be like, hey, I want to go into acting or I want to go into singing or I want to do something that is arts related, there are certain concerns that get arise. So, did you did you encounter any challenge like that during your journey?
100%, 100%. Because I was from that typical family that my mother didn't have a career, but she was a scholarship holder. And so were my uncle's mummy, and the family. Dad was also, he was a senior manager in a bank. Then he went towards his own business and everything. So the family was always towards education. So I used to be in India, head girl hundi hai, right? Like you have the student leader, the valedictorian, drama team, debate champion, state national levels I used to go, JC's Rotaries, but they were always like, beta side te hi theek hai. So, like, the people that are in the Punjabi movies and they'd be doing things, I used to be with them on the stage, but for me, it was like, nahi, nahi, tu MBA kar and you got to do your own MBA, you got to do that stuff. And this is not something like, had I started then at that time, I would have, been quite far ahead. So got married, and again my husband is in like he's a senior VP, so in an IT he's all about that. My uncle has a company, all CEOs, CFOs, CTOs, that kind of stuff. So it's all about education. So acting is very weird to all of them. They don't like, my husband is supporting me of course, but he really doesn't understand the industry, right? He doesn't get it, what's involved in it. And artists are a bit thode sunky on there. We're a bit weird. Like there's something within because we feel everything. We
Yeah.
see the world in such a different way versus the logical people. So it's been such a hard, like there's nobody in the family, no connections here that I have. Nothing. Every little step that I've reached, I had to literally climb the stair one step at a time. There was no snake and ladder and you get 6 and 6 and 12 when you go to like 80. No, I had to go 1, 2, 3, 2.5 and go up. It was such a,
Yeah, and
it wasn't an easy journey.
no, of course. And I really just want to appreciate you here because a lot of people, when they start with a certain dream, especially with like nowadays generation, with my generation, this is such a big problem that whenever we start something, we see a little bit of hardship here and there, and that kind of discourages us real quick. And we just want to sit home, curl up in our blankets and just so like having that strong will that takes you there, it's really great. It's really admirable. And we should definitely learn something from you. I might just end up like having you as my mentor.
Anytime, I would love that. I'm sure I'm gonna learn a lot from you, so it'll be a beautiful interaction, I would say.
Of course, of course. And I have a lot of to learn from you as well, like from your side.
Mhm.
Especially how to be all dedicated towards your journey. Just make sure whenever you're climbing up certain ladders, because I feel like whenever you're climbing a ladder, let's say you're going from one to two, there's always like the point five which you take wrong. So you have to reroute it in order to get to two again.
100%. Because for some people, yeah, I don't want to undermine their hard work or their talent or whatever they put in and call it destiny or something. But it does play a factor that, and this isn't coming from that victim mentality of constantly crying that, oh, poor me. None of that. I've reached to this level by working very hard through these things. But sometimes you get a success and that builds that muscle, and then you move on to the next step, and then it becomes easier because it's all memory. The subconscious, the more it sees something, the more of it sees, the easier the path becomes. The neural pathways start to develop that way. So what happens with some people is that it's just failures one after another. There's a roadblock, then failure, then they try here, the doors are shut, then they try there, then the doors are shut. In that time, it's not just the hard work, the resilience. You have to have a very, very strong system of faith, very strong systems develop like capacity that you can bank on, because you can always not bank on that motivation alone. Because when you keep getting thrown off that ladder, and the latter is also because if you say, for instance, in my case, like I had a trauma in life, I didn't even know for most part of the time that I'm working at like just 40% of my capacity. The 60% is getting burnt in survival. I wasn't, half of the people don't even know half the time that they are not in thriving mode, they're in surviving mode. And so there is just fight and flight, and half of their energy gets used there. So there's very little left for them to, and that much energy, they want to have kids and family and work and career and responsibilities and make success and be successful in life. And it gets really hard that way.
It does. It really does. And I feel like a lot of people, like including me, sometimes I just get up and I go out and I just find myself into the more surviving mode than thriving mode. And by the end of the day, it's just like it's draining. You just want to go to bed. So
And
I
then,
feel
yeah, sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
no, so I was just saying, so I feel like when you're working and your focus is towards just one place and you're just like so dedicated towards making it work, I guess you miss
Hmm.
a point or two where it's like you're concerned about yourself because at that point it's all about making it work. It's not even about you anymore.
100%. Like, it's you have to, again, there's two aspects to it. When you're, like I said, anytime there's a survival mode, which is like trauma doesn't necessarily mean okay, just an accident or a death. Sometimes it's just chronic illness. Sometimes it's other situations within the family which are constant ongoing, that require your attention, that require your energy, right? So it's that same resource of energy, the reservoir or whatever of energy that you have. And so much of it gets used. So the rest you have to use for surviving, for living, for day to day activities. So there's not much left for you to focus on the other things, right? And that's where it's just, we then sometimes start to internalize and start to think that we're broken, or there's something wrong with me, that is not, I'm not good enough, that look at this person, he's reached, and this FOMO, this sense of comparison just kicks in, that this 20-year-old woke up and he says, I'm sitting in a coffee shop making $1 million, and all that BS, nonsense, lies, and that you hear. But it's, you start to compare yourself and you think you're far behind. But each person's battle is very different, right? And that's where self care is so, so important, of reminding yourself every minute, every time you feel low, you feel down, that inner child within you, taking care of the inner child, taking care of yourself, and reminding yourself that I am good, I'm great wherever I am, right? Little reminders are key. They're very, very important.
Right, that is so true. I totally do agree with that. I just feel like it's mostly like nowadays it's just a race for everybody, like every youngster, every adult to just like get to a certain point. And I feel like Instagram or like social media has a lot of hand into that. Like you said, BS on like Instagram.
Yeah,
People you're all sitting in a coffee shop saying that I'm like making millions, I'm like having a life, living in a certain way. I just
yeah.
feel that kind of discourages a lot of people. That in a way it's just like it's positive, like don't get me wrong, in a way it's just like, yeah, I want to do something, it encourages you, but at the same time it takes you down too and be like, okay, how did it work for this person, but I have tried everything in my life and like every door is just getting locked at this point. So I guess that kind of really throws you off sometimes.
It does. Because you know what? I feel, which eventually I'm going to get to that point of redefining success. Unfortunately, the conditioning is so deep rooted within us. We are all so, sucked into this system of where they hang this carrot. And you're constantly, they just want you to run after that burnout while that 20% is making the millions and the billions. And that's what they want you to do. That success is that today I say, hey, I have a Lamborghini, I stand outside, this is my picture. Here I lost weight, I got this Gucci, so I am this influencer, I am in Paris, I'm doing all that. And everybody starts to think they've got the life. And we hear so many influencers taking their life after, because you don't know what's really going on in the background, because internally they're not healed. They're just showing something externally. And now, within, since the westernization, since the last decades and all, it's all become about, the guys will walk a certain way, the girls will talk, and you're like, okay, let me tell you this, girl. So this is how it is. This product, you're using the same hand movements also. They're talking, it's just such a part of that rat race on that. And they're like, you're gonna, and then there's a specific voice you're gonna use, and all that external BS. But nobody is really working on themselves to grow, to become that person, to bring that emotional regulation, to have that strength of character, that when no one's watching, what am I doing? How am I behaving? How am I treating others? How am I really treating myself?
Yeah.
What am I really doing? That character building used to exist years ago. That's when a man, when his word meant something. A woman's character was not just, okay, defined by like the looks. It was more about what kind of a person, like the inner qualities that she had. But all that is just going away. It's all taking over for brand names and bullshit. How many? Okay, so do I have million followers? Oh, great. I must be authentic. And do you notice that so many people get per videos of 30K likes, 70K likes? Why? Because they're just using the voice and just acting. "Ah, tum to ye kar rahi thi, haan." They're just making that. They're not even great actors. Their expressions suck. Nothing works. It's just because on the algorithm, they're just posting 5 videos a day. So the Instagram keeps rewarding quantity, not quality, right? So when somebody says in comparison, this is, oh, my followers are less, I said, that's okay. Don't compare yourself to those folks, because that's what Instagram or these social media, they want to become a part of this rat race.
Right, that is so true. And I feel like for Instagram and a lot of social media, the problem with that is like if you're doing something different, if you're doing something creative, when we talk about social media, we usually just talk about creativity. But I feel like when they talk about creativity, they talk about a certain pattern of like influencers of or a certain pattern of people in a specific industry. When someone's doing something creative, that's something supposed to be pop up, not everything that is regularly going in a continuous row, looking like exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly, right? They're just like, it's okay. I want to feed the algorithm instead of some quality content or information. And that's why there's so much nonsensical information and everybody's so confused. And I see young girls, I have mental health issue, I have this, and then they read the social media posts about self-love, that a girl, you're amazing like this and that, and then they post and they feel good. But none of them, like back to the same point, have invested in reading, in taking some courses to learn in self development, in clearing their trauma, in having a better relationship with themselves, in um, what is it? It's increasing the personal strength. The spiritual to haje dur, the spiritual's further away, right? To do these things, and that's why they're just at the shallow level, and they post a thing they keep talking about, and then there's mental health. They talk about themselves. From this social media university, they have basically qualified from there, given themselves A plus, done, because there's nobody to give them actual marks, because that requires self-awareness, and nobody wants to be self-aware because there's a lot of work involved, because then you have to look within and say, was my behavior actually that good? Did my behavior actually depict self-love, or I am just covering my deep rooted insecurity, inferiority complex with this band-aid level statements and these kind of things, and now I'm my trauma, my insecurities oozing out of me wherever I go. I'm just throwing my trauma onto the other person, and then I have an answer, or I am this, मैं तो ये हूँ, मैं तो वो, and मैं. The amount of chan that people do these days, and that's what they're constant. If you sit down, I quietly sit down and listen to people's conversation, and I feel drained. It's like मेरा bheja fry. My brain is getting fried there, because two trauma bodies, two people, and nobody's listening to the other one. Nobody's interested. Nobody cares. Nobody's worked on themselves. This person's throwing their own shit onto the other. Garbage here, take mine. The other person throwing and they're taking. That's all that interaction that happens these days, unfortunately.
That is so true. I just feel like mental trauma, I mean, I get it. I'm sensitive to the topic where there's like problems in the life. I get it where there's like certain blocks. But I feel like if your head is so strong, there's no disorder you can have in the world. So it's all about training the mind. I look at it in very different way. Like I do get headaches as well. It's not like I don't break. I do break as well. But at the same time, I feel like that is phase. That is just like today I'm crying. Next day I'm gonna get up and start working again. That doesn't mean one night I cried. That means I have a trauma. I feel like that's all the direction towards what you're thinking. And the one thing that happens with a
Absolutely.
person, they're very sensitive to it and just find 100 different reasons of not to just do anything and put it all on the mental disease or disorders.
No, but crying is important. Don't think that's a weakness. Okay? When you're hungry, what are you going to do? You listen to your body, you go eat. When there's a nature's call, you go for it. There is something that's coming up within you that is saying, release it. So those tears are just all because when I mean that, when they're talking about, I mean they're not working on themselves. What I mean is that that doesn't mean don't, that doesn't mean dishonor your feelings. Absolutely not. Cry, scream if you have to. Get away when you need to, and from everyone, just sit down and chill and Netflix. And, that's when sometimes you just need to unwind. So it's very, very important. Crying, actually, I think, is a sign of strength, because a lot of people would just like not show that, but that's also a fear of expressing that. If I, or they're so afraid that if I cry, I'm going to break down to such an extent I might not be able to handle myself, right? So here and there, letting that out is a must. And the second part of your question, mindset is 100% key. Working on having that mental strength is everything, and that's what keeps you going. And that's why when you are saying I have a stressful day or I'm feeling down, if I'm crying, that's very different from a person who's not making the effort, who's giving in very easily and calling it and saying, oh, I have a mental health issue, I'm not putting this down in any way. I'm saying that anybody who says they have a that they're, I'm trying to put them down. Absolutely not. That's a completely different scenario. That everything in balance, right? Recognizing my mental health needs to be taken care of. Understanding where my triggers are, understanding where I need to give myself space, self care, healing, care. That's great. It's only when you put that as an excuse but don't do the inner work, then you end up harming your own self. That's what I mean. Mhm.
That is so true. That's really so true. Like being aware, self-aware is really important, especially in this world. Because I feel like the life is getting busy nowadays. It's just like
Yep.
you're to this place and then you're running to another place in another hour and there's 120 tasks in the pending list which you have to do by today. So I
Yep.
feel having self-awareness is really important. But when I said like a person's like having a mental health problem, I feel like if a person is having some difficulty navigating towards like certain emotions in their life, right? I feel like the only thing that they do is like they're not self-aware enough. So when you look inside yourself, I guess when I'm down, the only thing that I do is I sit on the side of my bed and I think like if I'm like reacting in a certain way, what's making me react in a certain way? What's triggering it? So I guess having that time with yourself, that 5 or 10 minutes to sort it out, that kind of prevents you from all the disorders in the world.
100%. And if when you do that, you're just connecting with your own self, right? You are accepting yourself more. You're in tune with the needs of your body, what you need at the moment. You need rest. Like I said, you need to work out. You need to go hang out with your friends and have a good laugh. Sit with your partner and just snuggle there. Like there's multiple things you would know that if you were build that connection with yourself. And if you
Yes.
have a greater connection with yourself, then you will be able to build that connection with others also at a much deeper, stronger, better level.
That is so true. But Kavita, I should like ask you this question on the behalf of a lot of population here. Whenever, like you mentioned, like snuggling with your partner, but sometimes you're like a positive, strong-headed, and your partner is not good. I mean, I'm personally happy. Don't take me wrong, but a lot of other people, I'm just asking that whenever they just go in there and they end up choosing a wrong partner for themselves. So even if they were sorted in their life, even if they had this certain flame in their life, they just end up encountering a person that is just like opposite to them, and that kind of creates a lot of friction in your head and a lot of trauma. What do you have to say about that?
What happens is that when we always end up with the person who's at the same vibrational level as us. So if you are, say for instance, you have your attachment style is you have abandonment issue. So abandonment issue is basically the you want to cling to the person more. You're afraid the minute you don't get a message, you don't get a reply, you take it personally that the person's not interested in me. They're cheating on me, and you will end up attracting someone who has anxious attachment style, meaning they will be emotionally unavailable because you will be asking when you are at that vibrational level, somewhere you're broadcasting that I am clingy, I have this style of attachment, make sure you abandon me. You because that's what your energy is saying and asking for. So a person who's emotionally available, who will take care of you, will pass by you. You will not get connected to that person because your energy, like a billboard, is saying on the top, make sure to abandon me. Leave me. Like when I really need you, don't do that. The person who has anxious attachment style says, do not come near me. If the minute you're thinking of really falling for me, figure something out. Something, let something happen, run away from me. Okay. So, or just anxious attachment style, the opposite is it might be like the more I push you away, cling towards me, right? So it's what bothers because you will attract a person like the girls who they keep attracting the bad guys, let's just say, right? Constantly these type of behaviors. It's because somewhere within her when they grew up, and that's where the always within the first 7 year your personality gets established, which is so unfair it seems. By 10 it's pretty much sort of done with it, and as you grow then you are just living that personality type. So if you have issue that your father left you, you didn't get that love, you didn't get that attention, what they call daddy issues or whatever, you will keep attracting those bad men because you've not healed and changed your vibrational level. So it's not even the type, it's a pattern. You will keep attracting that pattern. And it'll be the name, the face will change from John to Dave to Jaspinder to Narinder or whatever. But it will be exactly the same personality style until you heal yourself, raise your vibrational level. Then that bad boy will pass by you. Your old self will get attracted because it says, this seems familiar. But because you've healed, even if you're slipping back into your own habits, the match won't work. It'll disconnect, and that person will get out of your life. That person won't get attracted to you. Then you're the level that you're at, you will attract a healed person. You will stop attracting the guy who's always emotionally unavailable or always keeps cheating on you. One girl will always have a cheater. Every other time she attracts a different type of cheaters, right? Or a guy, right? Or like I said, emotionally, the type. You have to cleanse because you're broadcasting into the universe and asking and pulling in that type towards you. So change that inner vibe and you will start attracting the right kind of person.
Right. I totally do agree with you. That kind of gives us a lot of insight on today's modern relationship, like how
Oh.
they're going with each other, how they're like. There are certain questions in my head, and I usually find my friends saying, "Why me?" Right? So I don't know what to answer to them, but after talking to you, I guess if they're gonna watch this, they're gonna have a better clarity too, and hopefully they'll start working on themselves as well.
I hope so because that's what they think. They say, "Why me? What have I done wrong? I'm such a good person. Why do I keep getting cheated on? Or why do I keep getting hurt? Why do I keep loving the guy and he does not love me back?" Right? Or whatever may be the issue, right? So it's because until the child within you, the energy within you stops seeking that type, you won't stop attracting them, right?
That is so true. That is really true. If you were to give one message out there in the public, in like today's generation who just want to work towards their dream and who wants to have like breakthroughs in their life, what would that be?
Okay, so I wrote this. Thank God I wrote something down because this is one of the biggest messages. Firstly, if there's one mantra that you can keep telling yourself, please just say that I am enough, just the way I am. You don't even need to say just the way I am, just say I'm enough. So that you recognize slowly that, like I said, you're not broken, you're becoming, right? You're never the end product. Each step you're working, each day you're learning, each day you're evolving. Like even your brain, there's neuroplasticity that it evolves, like it learns new things when you use that. Your body, your everything is energy, right? So you give yourself the time, keep evolving each day, keep working. It's a process for the rest of your life. Don't stop. Just say, I'm so grateful for where I am at this particular moment. I love myself for where I am, but I choose to grow. So that this way you're open to learning and growth, but you're not rejecting yourself, right?
Right.
And then I've written that there is no timeline for healing. Don't establish, everybody says, Be strong. This gets over to if somebody dies, they're at a better place. Time heals all wounds. You'll be okay. Give it a no. Nobody gets the right to decide for you. What is the timeline? If you need longer, don't go by pre-established or whatever the world says. Take your time. When you feel ready, then go for it. Okay? And there are waves, there are ups and downs, progress and regression. Like you will go through that waves. There will be days you're doing so well, you're at the top of your game, and there's some days you're going to feel so stupid, so silly, so lame. Like, what's going on? What's just happening? But sometimes that is needed when you're getting pushed down like a trampoline. You're gonna jump up after, and you're just getting that velocity, right? And a lot of times you're losing people out of your life. If you're doing that, that's sometimes a very good thing because that means you're establishing the boundaries and God and universe is making space and saying these people are not for your highest good. They're not meant to be on your greater journey. Let them go. The old furniture needs to be thrown out for the new to come in. And that means there's space being made for new to come into your life. Allow that. And when you are going through this, the lowest time you feel, you're internally feeling crap and you're feeling so low, allow that. Just witness it, be there. You're being broken almost, and that puzzle is being fixed in order to have that perfect piece. That pressure is being put on you to create the diamond out of you. So each step is actually necessary, the good, the bad, the up, and the down. And every time you show up for yourself, even in small moments and sections, you are doing amazing. Remind yourself of the daily small victories. I did this podcast, I listened to this podcast. I did something, I ate a salad instead of whatever, if it's a pain for you to eat a salad. Whatever you did, small victories, congratulate and yourself for that. Take your time, be gentle. And the last thing is please, strength isn't loud. It's bullshit that these days it's like, okay, I made the muscle, I lost this much weight, and I'm in the gym, and I'm like, if you're not doing, you're being lazy. Don't listen to that bullshit, okay? Some people, their bodies are different. You are churning a lot of energy. You're not going by, don't measure yourself by the standards of the world, okay? If somebody is highly active, I'm busy, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, that's her journey, that's his journey. Their metabolism is a wrong word. Their energy system, their karma, their soul agenda is different. They're supposed to maybe trying to get physical victory in life. In the previous lifetime, they may have been physically weaker. And this lifetime, they're here to gain victory over their body. But you may have conquered that in previous lifetime. In this lifetime, your soul agenda is more about emotional victory. How do I emotionally handle myself? It may be mental victory, like studying more, learning more, acquiring more knowledge. So understand your soul agenda. Again, back to self-aware. If you genuinely work on yourself, you'll get the answers that what is my soul asking me to do. So if you follow that and connect with within, you will get all the answers.
That is so true. That is so inspiring. It actually helps a lot of people solve 50% of their problems. I really hope it was really like great talking to you. It was such an inspiration, such a motivation. It cleared a lot of doubts that we youngsters go through day to day life. And the time I didn't even know like where it went. Like you were
Um,
so inspiring
um,
with everything. And like I'm
thank
personally
you.
so proud of you to just go through all the stages and achieving so many things in your life and just learning every time
Thank
you
you.
just and evolved.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So if I can cure my PTSD and get to this point, I just want somebody to know who's feeling down in depression and in any of that. My previous conversation may have seemed that I'm insensitive to that. No, I went through all of that myself. So I fully understand. Just get some help, get the support. Don't give up on yourself. That's it. Thank you. It's always great. Every time I talk to you, you're so inspiring. You both of you doing so well, so amazing. You're just your business ideas that you have and the aspirations, and you're so, it's amazing. Keep that up. So proud of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, really, Kavita. It
Thank
really means a lot.
Crown and conquer, we will redefine the game. Every challenge met, every victory claimed. In the boardroom's light, our visions gleam. Empowered women live in the dream. Strategic minds with hearts so bold, stories of triumph endlessly told. We mentor, inspire, and pave the way for every girl to seize the day. No longer waiting for a seat at the table. We build our own, strong and stable. From Milton's lanes to global scenes, we are the leaders, the boardroom queens.